speaker for today, has been in law enforcement in, investigating deaths in, the area for 35 years. He is the Yakima County coroner. He's currently trying to, be reelected, and has been the coroner for almost 10 years. Correct? This guy is a very powerful guy. I mean, in order to start an investigation, you need to be there, correct?
Absolutely.
And so I was watching one of your interviews on a radio station there and listening to it, but they had a picture of you, and I was really intrigued by all the behind the scenes things that go on, and none of that can start without a search warrant, right?
Correct.
So I want to have Mr. Jack Hawkins explain what he does from the very beginning to the very end. And so please welcome Mr. Jack Hawkins. Sure.
I've been instructed to move this here. My wife is my instructor. My name is Jack Hawkins. I'm the Yakima County coroner. And first thing that I'd like to explain is what are the duties and the responsibilities of the coroner. To me, people know that, nor do they want to. But anyways, the coroner is the chief death investigator in Yakima County, over and above all law enforcement officials. His responsibility is to conduct an independent death investigation on all deaths in Yakima County. Again, separate from any police investigation. The coroner is part of the Law and Justice Division of Yakima County, along with the Sheriff's Department, prosecutor, and the courts. When I receive a call to a death scene, I respond to that scene. That individual, that body cannot be moved until I get there. I start my investigation. I am the one that determines, is it a homicide, an accident, a suicide, is it drug related, could be child death, baby death, those are terrible, but it could be, and motor vehicle collisions. The coroner must have extensive training and experience in investigating crime scenes and investigating homicides. I have over 25 years of law enforcement experience with the Sheriff's Department of Yakima County and the Yakima Police Department, where I retired from the police department. I have over 11 years in the coroner's office, 9 as the coroner, 2 as the chief deputy coroner. The coroner consists of 2 phases, the medical and then the investigation. The medical being the autopsy. The forensic pathologist does the autopsy at the direction of the coroner. Bring him in, I hire him, but I'm at every autopsy. And I collect all the evidence that comes out of that autopsy. It could be photographic evidence, could be bullets, knife wounds, blunt force trauma. I record, collect, and preserve that evidence for the courts. With my extensive training and experience, it allows me to analyze a death scene, determine the manner and cause of death, collect evidence, preserve that evidence, and testify in court. I am recognized in Yakima County as an expert witness in death investigation. Over the last 11 years, I've established excellent working relationships with all law enforcement up and down the valley, whether it's here in Grandview, Sunnyside, Yakima, with all police and sheriff's deputies, with the Washington State Patrol, with the FBI, the Yakima Indian Nation, with prosecutors, with the courts, with doctors up and down the valleys, and at the hospitals. The doctors and nurses at the hospitals I deal with quite often. If somebody goes to the hospital, I have to be able to communicate and work with them and make sure they know when they're to call me. And most importantly, I work with the families. I established an excellent relationship with the deceased families. That's my main goal, is to make sure this family gets through this crisis and has all the knowledge they need, knowing what's going on with the investigation and keeping in touch with them and knowing where we're at and what's going to happen at that point. I have investigated over 6,500 death investigations in Yakima County. Wow. Out of that, 2,000 of those investigations include homicide, accident, motor vehicle, suicide, unfortunately, drug-related deaths, children deaths, and just an enormous amount of deaths I've investigated. I have extensive experience with dealing with the families, and that's very important for a coroner to have. I am responsible for the creation and the design of our new state-of-the-art county morgue. Talking to the gentleman before, we were housed in an old Pizza Hut kitchen. We had absolutely no bloodborne pathogen protection. You know, luckily we had a sink to wash our hands in. We have moved now to a new facility, which is a state-of-the-art facility, and one of the best facilities with our design and stuff in the state of Washington. I'm responsible for the computerization of our records bureau. I'm responsible for the new program that we have to reunite unclaimed cremated remains, which we have hundreds of, back to get them back with their family and their loved ones, so that they're where they belong. With my extensive experience and training, I will continue to serve the citizens of Yakima County with efficiency, excellence, and passion, with the full knowledge of the importance of my position to be the final voice for your lost loved ones. I can take questions now, or I can go forward with some of the problems that we've had with in the investigation stage. Let me just say this about our blood analysis for toxicology. That's a very important part of our investigation, because most all investigations include a toxicology analysis, which is analysis of the blood, urine, or vitreous, which tells us, you know, alcohol or drugs or whatever is in that person's system. And when I first started this, you know, a few years ago, we could get that back from our state lab in 4 to 5 weeks. And it got longer and longer, and the last couple of years, it ended up being 4 to 6 months. So I can't complete the investigation until I did this stuff back. So the families are unable to get closure. They're unable to settle states. They're unable to get the insurance companies to pony up. It's a vicious cycle. So I have gone to a private lab, contracted to a different lab, and we get our results in 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's absolutely incredible. Why can't we, and this is not just me or Yakima County, it's every county in the state. We only have 2 labs, and they're run by the Washington State Patrol. We have contacted the legislature as our association group to try to get them more money, because that's where it's at. They need more people and more money. And the reason this all happened is we legalized marijuana. Well, every time there's a marijuana arrest, they have to take blood. That blood has to be analyzed. So, and that's an arrest, so that goes to court. So they got to get their results back. So it pushes everybody else to the back burner. So that's why it's taken so long. So we're still working on getting them their money so that they can hire more people. Maybe even put up some satellite programs so we can get our analysis done quicker. It would save all of us money, because then again, you go outside the realm of the system, then you got to pay for it. So though each and every test costs me money out of my budget, which I have to make adjustments for. But it's so important, we have to do it, and we are doing it, and we'll continue to do it. Another program that I'm working on is DNA. DNA analysis takes a year, which is, it's just awful, and the state won't even hardly pay for it anymore. It's not like TV where you just go over here, okay, yeah, 10 minutes, I got your DNA match.
Wow.
Doesn't work that way. We had an individual that it's been over a year, and we figured out, we knew, we're real sure who it is, but dental records wouldn't tell us who it was. He was so badly decomposed we couldn't tell who he was. And so we did a DNA, and the state lab was doing the DNA for me. And finally, over a year now, they finally are getting a match and getting that information to me so we can positively ID this individual. I'm working with the supervising forensic evidence technician with the Yakima Police Department, Kristen Drury. We we're going to enter the existing DNA database, which everybody, you put your DNA on the computer, so we're trying to work a way so we can enter that, run a check, and start the match. Maybe we can match this person with a family member or something and start going there. And then working on a grant to get the money to purchase the equipment so I can put her to work and bypass the third or fourth party and do it indirectly, get it done directly. That's another one that I'm working on. We have a drug epidemic, not only in Yakima County, but the whole United States. And we have a lot of drug overdoses. That's one of our big numbers. We respond to the scene. We have what appears to be a drug overdose. A lot of times we have drugs there, and we need to know what those drugs are, especially if we're going to handle them. Because you don't want to handle fentanyl. Just a little bit of fentanyl in your skin will make you higher or kill you. That is the worst stuff that's out there now, is the fentanyl. A lot of meth, cocaine. So when we arrive at the scene, if we can identify those drugs in a timely manner, we can know it's safe to handle them or not, and let law enforcement know this is what we're finding on the street. Let the public know, or and the guy that's taking these drugs. The problem that they're having is they don't know what they're taking. They're buying the stuff off the street, and they think they're buying maybe meth and stuff, and it's getting mixed with fentanyl. And that's what kills them. I mean, it'll kill you right now. And so we can identify this stuff and say, hey, we're finding this stuff, da-da-da. So I'm working with Dr. Hara of the King County Medical Examiner's Office. He's contacted me, and we're getting a grant so that we can secure, it's a $25,000 piece of equipment and a training for me to go out to the scene and take this with me if need be, and we can test the drugs there without ever touching the drug. We don't have to unwrap it. We can test it without. That's why it's so expensive. But for us and the investigators and the families, it could be a lifesaver. So that's another program that we're working on. And obviously, I've been involved in criminal investigation for most of my life. That's what I do. It's a career. It's not just something I want to try. I enjoy the investigations. I work with all the homicide investigators up and down the valley. I enjoy my career. Obviously, want to continue. Any questions?
Yes. Sounds like you're well, I mean, a lot of agencies are familiar with you, and you're very well respected. I didn't hear that you made any relationships at schools, because it sounds like how you're educating us could be very useful in elementary, middle school, high school, to prevent this type of, maybe help the youngsters be aware of what's on the streets.
Absolutely. And like I say, this is one of the things that we work with the resource officers. I work with the resource officers that are in the schools, which is an excellent thing, and making sure they got the information and stuff to get this out to the kids, sort of thing. But that's a good point, and that's something that I will do myself, and get contact and get some speaking engagements with these kids, and let them know what's out there, and especially in the high schools. And not only in that respect, but we also work with suicide prevention, which it breaks your heart when you get these teenagers that they're under pressure at school, or they take their own lives, and we have too many teenagers doing that. And again, I have to work with the state prevention and the national suicide prevention, and locally trying to get the word out. It's so hard because it's so hard to explain to somebody that doesn't have life experiences that this problem that you're having right now, in 2 weeks you'll have 3 other problems that this seem twice as bad as this one. And once you've lived through it a few times, we've all had things happen, whether it's a family loss or something, or it could be financial or whatever. And unfortunate with teenagers stuff, you know, it can be a girlfriend or boyfriend, I mean, come on, you know, but we all know that that's gonna pass, but they don't have the life experiences, so this is some of the information we try to get out to them.
So do you have a team of coroners, like you can't be at every accident, so there's, you have to pretty much be at.
I have my office and my smallest budget in the county.
Oh, wow.
My office consists of myself, and I have a chief deputy coroner, that's us.
Wow.
Then I have a part-time office assistant, and which she's wonderful, she's an ex-police officer, so, I mean, she knows the system, she knows what we want, and she's just awesome. But, yeah, we go to every scene. One of us has to be there as an investigator. We do have a couple people that will go, you know, fortunately, I get to go out of town once in a while.
Yeah, and how do you?
The only time I'm off my phone and I'm not on 24-hour call is I'm out of town.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and if I am, we've got a couple guys that we pay them to just go out to help with the removals, but the investigator has to be there. We have to start that investigation, and I won't send somebody to a scene that's not trained. I won't do it.
Yeah, you do the whole county?
We have the whole county. Go Mount Adams, go up White Pass, go
Wow.
Columbia River, and down here to County Line Road.
You have to drive at every time, or do you ever fly?
No, we drive. We have 2 trucks. Sometimes we got them both going at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, usually in, you know, all the major holidays are our busiest times.
Here, yeah.
You know, especially in the summertime, you know, you got, you know,
All the drugs.
4th of July, Labor Day,
Yeah.
Memorial Day, those are all busy.
Yeah.
Come Friday, everybody's happy to see Friday. I don't like Fridays.
Oh,
I know. Obviously, we're not supposed to have to work on Saturday, but we work most every Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And we're back in the office on Monday.
Wow.
And, it's what I do, it's what I
Yeah,
like to do.
you enjoy it, yeah.
And, you know, I enjoy the investigation
Play the
and
call.
serving the people.
Yeah.
So you touched on it briefly, but like insurance companies, you have an insurance policy. How many of those companies then say, we don't want to pay out, so we want you to do an examination to see if they did, if it was an accident or what?
Well, a lot of them, of course, they depend on us to do our job and to know that know how to do our job and when those investigations need to be done. And so, we pretty much cover that. I've got the experience and know, you know, when we do autopsies and stuff. And, you know, and if there's one I'm not gonna do, somebody requests it, and we can do it. Main thing is getting the information for them to make sure we have the drug analysis and make sure in a motor vehicle collision, obviously, we do the autopsy to find out why this person is deceased, to make sure that they weren't deceased before the accident. Make sure that something in that accident, an injury, caused their death. Then it's important to do that. As you know, and we have people. I had a 30-year-old gentleman the other morning that was deceased, and he wasn't a drug user. He drank a little bit of wine, beer. No, nothing at all. Damage caused. He was devastated. So no trauma. We completed the autopsy, and he had a heart that was about this big.
Oh, my
It was
goodness.
too big. I mean, it was just genetic, and couldn't work anymore, and he basically died from cardiac arrest.
Wow.
But those are things that they need to know, and the family needs to know, okay, so what do I do to make sure, how do I check to see if I got a cardiovascular disease or something, is there something, my family members need to be checked to find out if they have any blockages or anything like that. A lot of times we do autopsies, not just for the criminal aspect, but to help the families. Okay, yeah, he's gone, but you know, why? Well, it has a blockage or this, and puts out to the family, you need to have the siblings and your children and stuff checked. Give those families that information. A lot of us, we don't, you know, obviously I get a physical every year, and because I do, because a lot of it's because of my job. I mean, in law enforcement and stuff, you have to do that, and have that stuff all checked, but a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people don't have the EKGs and have the hard stuff checked. And I did mainly because it was required. I mean, if I wouldn't have been required, I probably wouldn't have done it either, but it was required. We want to make sure that your heart's good, that you're not gonna just, you know, stumble over.
Yeah.
So that we do a full exam as well.
Any other questions?
You answered that question, I was asking you,
Oh.
this one, like that, and how you say, I mean, you don't look tired, you know, I don't know how you can do everything you do, not tired. Yeah.
I am retired, yeah. Actually, I tried that once. Not only that, but, we have a small ranch, we've got horses, cows, you know, I've got a life too.
Wow.
And my wife is wonderful, she, and my children and stuff, they're so supportive. And, yeah, it's a busy life, but, I don't know what I would do if I got up in the morning and what am I gonna do today? You know, even on the weekends, I know the phone's gonna ring, I know I'm gonna go to work, it's just a matter of when. Is it gonna be, is it gonna be at 2 o'clock in the morning, or is it gonna wait till 8? Normally it's 2 or 3. You know, I mean, it doesn't usually happen during the daylight hours, or I'm gonna go out that night. And of course, all the cases, they generate reports. You have to be able to write a law enforcement report. Those reports are for family members, for their insurance. Those reports are for the courts. They go to court, I have to testify in court. You have, you know, have the experience and the qualifications to do this. And it's obviously helped me with my law enforcement experience.
Sure.
Because I was a homicide investigator. I worked out with the detectives. My specialty was motor vehicle fatality cause analysis. I went back to Northwestern University on 3 different occasions, and I've studied all the motor vehicle collisions, pedestrian, motorcycles, trucks, buses. And as an expert, I taught that through the Criminal Justice Training Commission. And this is something that I love figuring out what happened in these accidents. It's an investigation. And so I've done it all my whole career, and I enjoyed it.
Well, then that gives me a question. So that accident with the young married couple that happened between Project and the city, how did you guys determine that she had fallen asleep? Because, and then, corrected her car. I mean, that's what was said in the news, that she had fallen asleep driving.
A lot of times,
It's between Benton, it's Project and Benton.
it's probably Benton County.
Yeah.
If you're on the other side of the county line road, it's Benton. But I can tell you why I've probably figured it out. A lot of times, somebody will see somebody driving down the road, and a lot of times in a car, you know, it's just kind of a real easy way you go off the road, or, you know, and somebody might say, I saw that person slumped over and went off the road. Okay, well, when you do your exam, if there's no medical reason why this person, you know, had collapsed, heart attack, you know, respiratory problems or something, and you got the witnesses, and it's real easy, it just appears that way, then you pretty much, you know,
They
it
said her
just
car
kind of fell asleep.
flew up in the air and came back down.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, and a lot of times they'll go off very fast, and the examination of the interior of the car and the person, the autopsy, the blood screen, stuff like that tells you all that. Where her injuries are.
The road's all painted
Yeah, it's
orange
okay.
where they went off and then back on, and
Yeah, each case is different, so it's interesting.
where you mentioned that you're trying to find the home, the family of the,
Cremated remains.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we have, when I took over the coroner's office, we had unclaimed cremated remains at probably every funeral home in the county,
Wow.
where they had been cremated and the family just didn't pick them up, didn't want them, or just didn't get them. And then it's a crematory out of it, so, you know, and so I started gathering these all. I said, we need to have these, somebody will call me, so I think, you know, I'm looking for the cremated remains. So I could start calling all these funeral homes, so let's gather these and put them in one place.
Yeah.
Where are we gonna put them? Well, we'll take them. So we gathered them, we put them in, we keep them in storage in one of our refrigerated units. And I'll hold them there for about 3 years. And try and put on my website who we got, what we got, and sometimes the newspaper will run a list for me. I'll go out to the newspaper and do a public thing, please run these to see if we can find some families that maybe they'll look at it, oh man, that could be second cousin George, you know, or something, and we can get these people back, you know, and there's no charge. We usually have paid for the cremation, you know, if it's indigent, nobody pays for it, so obviously somebody has to, so we help the funeral homes, so we donate a little bit of money. We don't pay for the whole thing, but we try to cover the cost of the cremation, and then we keep them. And then after 3 years, and we haven't been able to reunite them with their families, then we do move them to a grave. But if somebody comes forward, we still keep track of them, and if somebody comes forward, we can retrieve them very easily, very quickly for that family. So this is something, rather than having them scattered all over the county, we have them, and whenever somebody was an indigent is cremated and there's no family, then funeral homes will bring them to us, so that we keep them and we log them in, and we'll keep them for about 3 years, so that there's no opening and closing of the grave.